Yeah, I like the question and answer stuff. Still waiting on Dak Prescott. Got word about Steele.
Oh.
Still working on that.
Okay.
They're still working on that. They don't know exactly what they have.
Crap.
So hopefully it sounded like to me that maybe they went and took this kid in for an MRI and stuff to see where they're at. So,
okay.
But I said, hey, what can you tell me about Steele? And they said, we're working on that as we speak. So
I'm not a doctor, obviously. I do attempt to play one on the radio, Brian. That doesn't sound good.
No, it really, really doesn't. I mean, like I said, it might be a thing where they just don't have the information back yet. You know, they just don't have it. And so, you know, as they work through it, maybe we'll get a little update. You know, it might be something that, like, he's just not back. You know, and they you know, he went off and he's just not back. They maybe had to send him somewhere else to get this done.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes the X-ray machine you have isn't fine enough to detect a hairline
that's
fracture.
The thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and make it sound like doom and gloom. They said, hey, we're working on it now. That's the message I got. So maybe here later in the afternoon we'll get an update on that.
Fingers crossed for just some tendonitis, some joint inflation, and they were just being extra careful. Maybe 10 days off, be good to go.
Yeah, sprain, something like that, something that you can kind of work through that. But I didn't see it happen yesterday. This must have been something that took place, you know, after practice. That probably you know slept on it overnight, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we need to maybe swole up on him, and then we maybe need to go take a look at it. So,
those sprained ankles are tricky, man. Sometimes it feels like I'll never walk again, and you are up in 20 minutes, and then other times you're like, what was that? And wake up tomorrow, it's worse.
Yeah, the overnight stuff is.
How would they be
never
fixed if they had to go without him right now? If they had to go without Terence Steele for a while, that's not a pretty picture, is it?
Well, no, because there's so much with the unknown with Adeniji. If in fact that if he's going to be the one that's going to get the first crack at this, I would say that, you know, he is a guy that is it's not like you're throwing a rookie guy out there. It's not like you're throwing, say, Thomas out there, who is a second-year guy with a little bit no experience. Adeniji is a guy that has 6 years of experience. So that, you know, it's at least it's a veteran player in that regard that has some experience, starting some NFL games. And that's, I think, you know, right now, that would be the first thing that I would think of. It's like, and I really thought that Awesome Richards had been working on the left side. And, you know, they might be legitimately thinking like left side players and right side players. Not, okay, this guy's a swing tackle thing. I mean, they might be thinking left side, right side, having a guy that can do each. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Fingers crossed. What else jumped out to you today that's on your notebook, buddy?
Yeah, I tell you what, though, I really, to me, it's when I watch these with the offensive line. I know we talked about with them and that ability, and I'm starting to get a better feel of how they're going to run this football. And when you go down to the other end of the field, I was with the defensive guys yesterday, and today I was with the offensive line, and I just wanted to get okay, how are they teaching these drills? How are they teaching the scheme? It wasn't one of those things where you're like going, okay, we're just gonna we're gonna pull in guards and stuff. They worked on things where it was like some down blocking stuff and turn, move your feet, that kind of. You're thinking, oh, okay, maybe this is going to be some seal and pull and those kind of things. And then all of a sudden they get into really the meat and potatoes of the period, and it's like, okay, now they're hip to hip and they're working on that, they're pushing. And then you see that kind of translate into how they're running the football. And so they're going to their idea is, I think the outside stuff is going to be more of the outside stuff run is going to be from the shotgun. The inside stuff, or how they're going to probably run the football, is going to be more of a like under center, take the ball to the back. And then let them push that front, and then the back make the read off that. So that's kind of that's that's that power gap scheme, and maybe and I should have known better when they drafted Booker. That's what they were probably going to do. They got into a lot of 12 personnel stuff. They got into where Hunter Lipke was. Sometimes he's a fullback, sometimes he's a tight end. They're trying, I think, to be a team that's not going to be too fancy at running this football.
Scooney had a nice catch today. Is he part of that 12, or has it been mostly
span forward?
Yeah,
it's been a lot of it has been Ferguson and then span forward. And Schottenheimer said it today on the podium. It's not that Scooney's been bad. It's been span forward as a whole. Mm-hmm. As a whole, the tight end group as a whole has looked pretty good. And Ferguson made a couple of plays today. He looks like he's healthy. Last year he was banged up with the knee and then the concussion. It just wasn't a very good look for him last year. It was a big struggle. But span forward made a couple of plays yesterday. A really good adjusting catch that he made. And then today they threw him the ball again, and he's able to make a play. So we haven't seen drops or problems. This tight end group we kind of thought was like, maybe a little bit questioned other than Ferguson. Well, here's span forward and Schoonmaker both kind of showing up a little bit. I thought something was really interesting today when they were working with the offensive line. They go over to the drills, the tight ends, and they got three tight ends that don't go over there. And I wonder if they kind of feel these guys, are they really just pass receiving tight ends and really not blocking tight ends? And that's Fairweather, the rookie from Auburn. He didn't go over. Tyler Neville, he didn't go over there as well. And then also John Stevens didn't go over. So they got these. Every other tight end is over there working with the offensive line on the combination periods and stuff. But those three guys stay with a different group or stay with a coach and work on their own. So I need to ask about that. Like, why do those three guys don't get to go over and work with the other guys?
Right.
Do you guys feel like that they're just really, are these guys just really pass catchers and not blockers? I was just kind of curious why those three guys didn't get the opportunity. But maybe I'll figure that out here in a little bit.
The running back room, I mean, we kind of all threw dirt on Deuce Vaughn, but we're starting to see some maybe a different look in Deuce Vaughn.
Well, the one thing when Deuce Vaughn has space, we've seen him run with some explosiveness and some quickness. That's kind of what he did at Kansas State. There's been times where, maybe that group that he was running behind the last couple of years, maybe they just haven't been good enough. Maybe when he's gotten opportunities, they just haven't been good enough getting him space. But he's made some violent cuts. Ball going to the right, and all of a sudden things open up, and he sees it, and he's into the secondary. So he looks like a much different player than he's looked the last 2 years, having to run behind a line where it looked like he was kind of stuck in mud.
They've been working some screen game action today, Broadus?
Yeah, a little screen game stuff, and our guy Ezra Rocco just blew it up. They tried to throw one to his side. They tried to slip. I'll tell you an interesting kind of a scheme thing they're doing, and they take the back and they take Lipke and they act like they're running a screen with those two. It's like a two-man screen, and so they tried to run it today going to the left. And that draws the defense. It kind of stretches the defense, and they took Ferguson and put him inside. And so what happened is they get the stretch with the fake screen, and then it opens space inside. So they just fit the ball to the tight end. They did that 2 different times for kind of some nice little gains inside where you're thinking, oh damn, they're throwing the screen going here. And as the defense expands, then that just allows Ferguson to kind of sit in the middle, and Dak was able to hit him. But yeah, they tried to throw the ball to Williams on a screen to the right, and Ezra Rocco just blew it up. I mean, he was right there waiting for it.
Man, he's doing everything, isn't he? This guy's going to be a star.
Yeah. Well, he's just, you know what? I mean, the learning curve for him seems just so small because he can rush the passer. I mean, and it's not just. he's not just taking advantage of second and third offensive linemen. He's honestly like rushing, whether it's against like when Steele was in there or when Guyton was in there. He's honestly doing some good rushing and against some good players. So he just seems like to me that he's got a real good understanding, wherever they put him, whether it's on the right side or the left side. He's got this feel for how to get up the field, how to, not get fooled. A lot of these guys will just run up the field and then the ball goes inside or it goes over the top of them or something like that. And then, they're out of position or they go too far past the quarterback. This kid doesn't seem to have that issue at all.
When you were saying earlier you don't think their run game's going to be, diverse or fancy or whatever, there's still plenty of opportunity to provide contrast because one of the themes of Shoddy's talking is to be unpredictable. So you're not saying they're going to be a predictable run game, are you?
Yeah, if they're a power gap scheme, it's not very. That's not a pretty run scheme. That's just get hip to hip and push is what that is, and that's allowing the backs. It's very reminiscent of what we used to see back in the Shanahan days. I'm talking about old man Shanahan running the football. Like you get a back, you get guys that are going to push. That Denver scheme was really more, instead of pushing, it was really cutting is what it was. They chopped those defensive linemen. So those guys played low. They were a lot lighter back then. But this scheme is this hip to hip and push is what they do, and then let the backs cut off that. At least through the first 3 days, that's how they've shown their run scheme.
So off tomorrow, and then we're going to get in pads soon?
Sunday. So Sunday. What time do you guys get in Sunday, by the way?
I think 12:30.
You're cutting into my practice
Maybe.
is what you're doing. Yeah. That's good planning on your part. But here we are. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we got a padded practice on Sunday and then a padded practice again on Monday is what we got.
That's
so
awesome.
we got a day off tomorrow and then they have that ceremony, the Oxnard ceremony where we get up here and everybody sings and has
Mayor
a good time.
comes out,
And Mayor comes
cut a
out,
ribbon.
gives Jerry a ball or a jersey and says thanks for being here, and then away we go with a practice.
We should just get Carter or Ruben to come pick us up on Sunday, bro. You don't need to be missing any practice.
Nah, man,
tonight.
we're all good. We're all good. You're going to be proud of this vehicle I got. This thing is a beast.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to see it for
Ooh,
yourself.
I hope it's another man van.
Oh, wait till you see this thing. Dawson, you're going to appreciate driving this thing.
I love it. You're the man.
All right.
Anything on Jaden Blue? Any
You know what?
observations?
He lined up in the wrong spot today, and they had to rehuddle. But he has gotten some opportunities to run the football. He is very, very explosive. And there was one time, like I said, where they had this. They get up to the line, and he was a little bit confused to where he needed to be. He needed to start on the right side because they brought him from the right side to the left side in motion, and they had to rehuddle and stuff like that. And Dak walked up and explained to him, you had to be over here instead of over here. So they kind of figured that all out. So, but hey, when he gets the ball, you can tell. I mean, him and Deuce and William, and our guy Sanders. I mean, it is a good deal. By the way, here comes the quarterback. So
speaking of Dak,
yeah. So he's heading to the podium.